hardly watching my mesmerized body lines. I'm so 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 hardly watching my body lines. I'm so hardly. Body lines. I'm so
first event for 2021. And I'd just like to welcome everyone here on set with me. We've got Pastor Joan, the founding and leading lady of Remarkable Woman to me. She's Ma. Ma, please say hi to the people.
Hi, everybody. Hi there. Greetings from Remarkable Woman. I hope you tune in. And don't hit that dial. Don't go do anything because it's going to be a nice, good topic for you.
And we've got Candace Ho over here. Would you like to say hello to everyone?
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our first session for the year. We're excited to have this time with you this morning. So sit down, relax on your couch, and wait for an awesome session with the Remarkable Woman. Thank you.
And we've got the lovely Terry Ann Ralston with us.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for tuning in. I hope you will have a fabulous time with the Remarkable Woman. Please just sit on your seat, wherever you can find yourself, and just enjoy the session with us. Thank you once again.
So I hope you guys have already grabbed your coffee, juice, your popcorn, and just make yourself comfortable on the couch, because that's exactly what we're going to be doing here today. We just want to have girl couch talk. That's all we want to do. But in the same time, we are in the month of love, and we want to talk about the topics that bother us as women, issues that we struggle with as women during this time and during COVID-19 when things were just so difficult. But before we head into that, we would first like to show you our vision clip for 2021.
You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the dirt, but still like dust I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns with the certainty of tides. And just like hope springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes? shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard. 'Cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise? That I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs. Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide. Welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. Still, I rise, I rise, I rise.
Yes, women rise up. That is the theme for 2021 for Remarkable Women. If you've just joined us for the first time,
You may write me
thank
down
you
in
so much
history
for
with your
joining-
bitter,
joining
twisted
in and
lies.
tuning into
You may
this,
trod
and
me
I
in the
hope you enjoy
dirt,
your time
but
with us.
still like
Don't
dust,
go
I'll
anywhere,
rise.
because today
Does
we're
my
going to be
sassiness
unpacking a
upset you?
beautiful woman in the
Why
Bible.
are you
Her
beset
name
with
was
glue?
Ruth.
Because I walk
And
like
she
I've
went
got
through
oil
so many
wells pumping
challenges
in
the
my
Bible, and
living
we're just
room.
gonna have
Just like
girl
moons
talk
and like
about
suns with the
let's
certainty of
jump right
tides.
into that.
And just like
Who
hope
do you
springing
think
high,
was Ruth? What was her character? Who was she? Ma? Do you want to go first?
Yo. Yeah, I wonder what will the ladies say out there if you maybe can come online and just tell us, what do you think who Ruth was? I think Ruth was a remarkable, remarkable woman, very faithful and committed. Also, she was a woman who actually, I can talk such a lot, and I don't want to take up all the ladies' ideas and whatever, but Ruth was someone to me who saw that her purpose and her destiny was locked in another woman who was a mother-in-law. And the courage she had to actually endure the cause, because there's a process, where there's pain and destiny, there's a process toward destiny. And I think Ruth actually saw that process, and she walked through the process, which is very important in today's society and life.
Okay, so when I journeyed on the life of Ruth, the first thing, okay, fine, everyone knows that Ruth was loyal. Okay, we can see in the book she was loyal to her mother-in-law. But apart from that, I think she was tenacious, she was diligent, she was a hard worker. That is one thing I just, when I read through the book of Ruth, she was a hard worker. She was generous. We can even see in the book where she even left her leftovers to give to her mother-in-law. So all the characteristics of Ruth, it is just amazing. She's really a remarkable woman. She is even right through the book, I couldn't see her complaining once. I didn't see her moaning. She just did what she had to do it, and she did it with so much love, with so much generosity. That is what I can just, she's
She was
amazing.
selfless.
She was, yeah, she was,
Selfless
yeah.
woman. Candy?
I think a lot has been said about Ruth, but the one thing that stood out for me is she never gave up. Her perseverance in life,
Yeah,
no
that's
matter
true.
what came her way, she was persistent. She had that tenacity to not give up. And I think that is one thing that goes in line with our theme this year, is Women Rise. We must never, ever give up. If we can be the Ruth, our lives will be so purposeful.
And I think that's true for everyone, to resonate with Ruth, that a lot of women have gone through so much, whether it be during 2021, 2020, COVID-19, life in general is hard. It's hard for women. It's hard to be a mother. It's hard to be a wife. It's hard to be a widow. It's hard to live life in general. So there's a lot of things I think with Ruth that we can all resonate with. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that she went through. You know, she lost her husband. She lost her brother-in-law. She lost her father-in-law. She lost her home. There's a lot of that she lost. And I just want, you know, us to touch on that. Like, what was her thought process? What could it have been for a woman who went through so much? Anyone?
I think what stood out for me and that helped me when I went through my divorce, reading the book of Ruth, is no matter what your past is, you need to move forward. Let go of the past. Set yourself a goal and persevere for it. Those are key things that stood out for me. Those are things that helped me go through a lot of challenges. There's a lot of days that I wanted to give up. And like Terry said earlier on, she never complained. She was humble. She got up every day and she went to work to provide. And she took care of her mother-in-law. I had children to take care of during my divorce, and I could not give up. I had to be that pillar of strength for them. I had to go out there and work, because being dependent on one income, and now, two incomes, apologies, and now you have to live off one income, you had to make it work. So there's a lot of things that Ruth went through that I could relate to during my divorce.
I think also, you know, during COVID-19, there's a lot of women who have lost their spouses. And you've worked with a lot of these women. You've spoken to a lot of these women. What is the thing that stood out most for you during that time?
Yeah, you know, and that is why I'm talking about the process, because you never think that something like loss of a partner will actually come your way, because we all think that we're going to live, you know, and some of us, we know that we're going to die one day or the other, but yet, you know, it doesn't cross your mind that one of these days, you don't know who's going to pass on first. And especially if you're young and you're energetic and you have zest for living. Like a lot of us as women, we feel like that. And we never think, it doesn't cross your mind that you will lose someone in the interim, you know. And we see even in this time that we are faced with how many women lost their husbands. And it's so... it's ironic to think that COVID-19 actually took a lot of our men. You know what I'm saying? And in the same instance with Ruth, coming from a Moabite culture and moving over to a culture who knows the Lord. And I think when you're in the Christian culture, you don't even think, and that's another thing, you know, you don't think that, wow, I'm serving the Lord, you know, I have this, nothing will happen, I give my tithes, I pay my offerings, I live right, so obviously, yeah, nothing will happen to me, you know. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I think it doesn't cross your mind. And the pain is so deep in this time that we are living in because of so many Ruths out there who actually lost their partners through the cold hand of death. And now they're alone. A lot of them didn't prepare to be alone. A lot of them financially didn't prepare and is now struggling. And so that to me is the pain, you know. There's many days that I actually can feel the pain of these women, not knowing how am I going to face life now without a partner, without my mate. Because you know how it is. I know of a couple who was married for 21 years. And just like that, losing a partner, oh, the pain is deep. I see another lady who just lost her husband the other day. I mean, you look at the children that don't know what's going to happen to us as a family? A lot of these women, and especially in the ministry, didn't work. You know, they're in the ministry full time. Their husband was the pastor. He was the one that
He's a front runner.
the running the house. You know what I'm saying? So you guys can just talk to me. How will you feel? You know, just thinking. I know with divorce, it's you can relate, but the person's still there. You can still take him up for maintenance. But this guy is no longer. He's not there. You know, and as much as you go to bed in the evening, and you have to go and lay in that bed all by yourself, that cold feeling. Yo, I can just imagine what Ruth had to go through.
And also, I think the difference is, you know, there was no preparation to say, I can prepare myself. Okay, I'm going to be alone now. I need to take the next few steps. It literally, she had no choice in the matter. She didn't give that up, and that makes me wonder, what are the other things that she did have to give up? She's already going through so much. Her husband was taken away from her without a choice, but there was still so much more about her life that she had to give up. It was a choice that she had to give up.
Absolutely, yes, it was.
You know, and I think in that, she had displayed a remarkable character, because even for me, if I have to look back on my life, I've been in Joburg for almost 7 years. I did what the woman in the Bible did. I met my husband, moved out of my mother's house like a few weeks later. I didn't know anyone in Joburg. I didn't have family here, nobody. And I cleaved onto my husband. And his family became. So, Ma, you are my Naomi. I had to do what Ruth did. I had to leave my mother behind. I had to leave my culture behind. I had to leave friends, family, everything behind. And that in itself is a struggle on its own.
It is, because it's the knowing. I know this type of lifestyle.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And now I am in a fast world, Joburg, like in your case, moving from Namibia to Joburg.
Yeah.
It's a fast lifestyle.
And and the difference, it's so vast that it's like it was a flip from being slow and just into the fast, you know. And with that, I had my mother that guided me through everything there. So we did everything together. And then when I came here, I had to adjust because I had to latch on to you.
Yes.
I had to learn from you how to cook for my husband what he wants. I had to learn how things are done here. And that is a struggle. It took me a good 6 years. And I say that because it's only recently where I'm starting to find my feet, because you must look at the culture, you must look at the way people are, what are the appropriate things to say, not to say.
And also, Anka, with that, like in our situation, when you came over, now as a mother, taking Naomi, you don't also want to be too forceful. You don't also want to say, you know, no, don't do it that way. You must also be careful, because now it's their lifestyle. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you don't want to push into yourself into this situation. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was Naomi. That's why she said, you guys can go, man. Leave me alone.
And you know, when I was reading again the weekend, you know, prior to our session, what went through my mind, Anka, is during this COVID period, I know that you had times when you could go visit and go home. But now with COVID and the borders being closed, how did you deal with it? Because for me, you came to mind, and I thought, how would I deal if I can't see my mother, if I can't see my father? Because I'm so latched onto them, I'm so reliant on them, you know, being alone with my kids, you know, you're reliant on them. So it went through my mind, and I thought this morning I would just like to find out, how do you deal with it?
I'm not gonna lie, it was and is still difficult, because me and my mother, we literally did everything together. If I'd go to the mall, if I'd go to the shop, we'd both be in the car. Like, where did you come from? You know, we just knew we did everything together. still this day we speak every day, but it's not the same as the personal touch. My kids are there. My kids also ask, and she asks for the kids, and it's extremely difficult, but I do have a supportive family.
Yes.
I have Ma
And thank
here.
God for social media too.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know.
That is very true. I have a very supportive family, and I speak to my mother every single day. And, you know, and if I have to look back at Ruth, I'm like, there wasn't social media.
Yes.
She couldn't do none of that.
Yeah.
But those elements are still there. And I've got Ma and Dad, I've got here. They are very supportive towards me and Xavier. Xavier is very supportive as well. So, yeah.
But you
It's a
know
learning
what,
curve.
Anka, in that, taking that, this is an excellent example that you have to have certain qualities.
Yes.
Ruth had to have certain qualities.
That's correct.
You get what I'm saying? So it is things that was instilled within her during the process.
Yes.
Am I going to go back as my sister-in-law did?
Yes.
Or am I going to just
Persevere.
carry on with the process? Because remember, coming from a Moabite family, she did not know the Lord. Moabites did not know God. Their lifestyle was totally a different lifestyle altogether. So now she married into a Christian family, right? Which was Hebrews from Bethlehem. And now she learned things while she was married. And she used to like the things that the mother-in-law did and the God she served. So Naomi had to actually have an excellent projection toward Ruth. And therefore, I think Orpah didn't see it, but Ruth saw a destiny locked up in a mother-in-law.
Yes.
And I think she had to have certain qualities within her that said, I'm not going to go back, you know, to my ungodly lifestyle. I like this God.
Yes.
And that speaks character, volumes of Ruth, Naomi's character. Because, you know, if you read carefully, it sort of implies that she didn't really know much about Naomi's faith. But Naomi had to live in a certain way for Ruth to want that.
Yeah,
To
absolutely.
want to follow that to the point where she would leave
I fully believe that.
everything she knows behind. And that speaks volumes of her character, you know. And going forward, like, what are the things you think her mindset was? I mean, she should have had a stern mindset to leave everything behind.
Okay, so Ruth, one can say she was positive. She had a very positive mindset. In order for you to overcome certain calamities, in order for you to persevere, your mindset needs to be focused, okay? You need to be able to see the end result, okay? She was positive, and you could see she was a beacon of hope for Naomi in that difficult
Absolutely,
time. So it goes back to what Pastor Jones said, that the character, God will never give you something that you cannot handle.
yeah.
So you knew why you chose Ruth instead of Orpah. So if I reflect back on my life, if I look when I was at the age of 18 when I fell pregnant, I had hopes and dreams for my life. Like, I just matriculated, and I had this high school lover,
Wow.
and yeah, I'm pregnant. And he left me. So I didn't have plans. I didn't know what to do with it. But I kept on saying to myself that God gave me this child for a reason.
Yes.
Because whatever you face, it propels you to your destiny. If I did not have Shelva, I would have never changed my mindset to move away from the reckless life that I lived. It is because of that child I gave birth to that I actually got to a point where I am today, because I changed my mindset. I said to myself, you know what? I cannot do this. I need to run this race with this child. So if I look at Ruth, she was focused. She looked at Naomi, because I'm sure way back in the days when she was still married, Naomi looked after them. Okay, remember, Naomi moved over to their country because they ran away from famine. But the thing is, ultimately, I believe that irrespective of what situation that you are faced with in this difficult time, just know that God will never give you something that is above you. He will give you something that you can carry on your shoulder. He will give you the boldness. He will give you tenacity. He will give you he'll make you courageous, because He already instilled that boldness within you to overcome your race. And believe me, there is a testimony at the end. Because if you look at the end result, what birth out of this whole situation, it is miraculous. It even moves over to the birth of Jesus Christ.
I just want to bring everybody back in that if you have a question, if you have a comment, if anything that you'd like to contribute to this, this live today, drop a comment in the comment section so that we can bring you in. We've got Jabulile and Simpiwe here. Simpiwe says, where you die, I will die. Loyalty and understanding your position. And then we've just got a lot of love from a lot of people. We've got Annie, we've got Whitney, Jocelyn, and Eudora. We've got quite a few people online. If you'd like to just be part of this, drop a comment and show us some love. And just back, you were going to say something, Candace?
I think, there's a few things that we can relate to in this modern world with regards to Ruth. And the one thing that stood out for me is, and I'm just going to read it so that you can, get the message across. And it said, define your purpose. Be purpose-filled. Start your day intentionally. Don't wake up on mornings to see if something will happen. You should wake up and face your day with an agenda, a plan, an action, and a purpose. And I think that is so important, because I know there's days that we are going to be tired, but we just need to lift ourselves up. And when you do feel down, refer to the book of Ruth. There's so many things and so many strategies that we as modern women can learn from.
And I think we focus a lot on Ruth's journey before she met Boaz. She left her home, she left her culture, she left everything, and she went into a foreign land. That tells me this woman had a different type of confidence. Because remember, they didn't have any money. They didn't have a place to stay. They had nothing when they decided to go back. And to go back to a place where, they don't have anywhere to live, where they're going to eat. So this tells me that this woman had so much confidence that she did what she did. When she went in and she gleaned, she got the food, and she got some favor. Then she went, and her mother-in-law told her, put on your best outfit and go to the threshing floor and go to his feet. After he had his wine and he was all merry. Good conversation. And, that takes a certain kind of boldness to put
It
yourself
takes a
out
certain
there.
kind of character, though, because not all of us will do that.
But if I have to think and I have to bring it back, I think a lot of us have so many hopes and dreams. A lot of us, there's so many things we want in this life, but we think, oh, I don't have enough money to dress a certain way. Oh, I don't have this or I don't have the internet to do this, or I don't have a car to do this. We just see this big, because she could have sat back and said, but I don't even have a house to stay. There's nothing for me to wear. I don't even have a little bit of perfume to put on to impress this man. She did what she had to do. She worked with what she had, and she ran with it. She put herself out there. Ma, what would you say about her in that moment?
I think she followed the instructions.
Yeah.
She was a very obedient girl toward her mother-in-law. And she knew that, this woman knows more than what I know. And I think in today's society, you find that there's a lot of differences when it comes to generations. And you find a younger generation, but seeing the wisdom of an older generation. You know what I'm saying? And it's not that the older generation knows more, but they went through more. And they can teach you one or two things. And I think with Ruth's situation, because she knew what her mother-in-law stood for, and she loved the Lord that she saw in her mother-in-law, And I think, therefore, she was obedient. What the mother-in-law, she followed her instructions to the T. Irrespective of knowing that, wow, I can maybe, maybe be seen as promiscuous woman or whatever. But she knew, my mother-in-law knows something. So I'm going to do this, And it just shows you that there are people or older people, women, who wants to mentor the younger generation, with the wisdom or the things they went through. Because remember, Naomi went through the same thing. She also lost her husband, plus 2 children, 2 of her sons. You can imagine, that's why she said, call me Mara.
She was so bitter.
She was so bitter. Due to the fact that that's what it is when you lose people in your lives. But I think with Ruth, the question on your question, my thing that stands out is she knew there's a purpose for me here.
Yes.
She knew I have to obey my mother-in-law. Let me do what she says. And I think God played a vital role as the redeemer in this situation where Boaz is concerned. Because Boaz is actually, he played that redeeming person. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think to me it's just obey, guys. Yeah, sometimes we're not easy, no? Being the older generation, but just listen. We know where the hurdles are. Maybe sometimes not all the hurdles, but we can guide, we can direct, we can lead. We can say, be careful, you're going to bump your head there. It's not that we're funny, it's just that we went through it. Therefore, we don't want you to. You don't have to go through what the previous generation went through. You just can carry on.
But I think also in that note, from the younger generation's point of view or side, just the 2 cents in there. I think, if you have to look at the relationship between Ruth and Naomi, there was a point when Naomi herself wanted to give up when she said,
Yes.
call me Mara.
Yes.
Right? And what happened? Ruth came in. Ruth gave her that last boost.
Yes.
So we are also there to give some life for the next-
Absolutely. And
for the
therefore,
next
we need
generation.
one another.
We need one another. And I think we had this conversation, I think it was earlier, it was last week, we had
week,
this
yeah.
conversation where, where we stand with the older generation and the millennial generation and going forward. You can't kick either one out.
No, you
You
can't.
can't sit either one down. We have to learn from each other. I have to learn from the older generation what was good principle, because principle remains.
Absolutely.
It's not something that you change and
Absolutely.
goes away. But there's certain methods, there's certain stuff that change over the years, and we need to keep with the times. So I think also that we need you and you need us. But also going forward, if we have to look at her mindset, we said she had confidence.
Yeah.
But what was she thinking when she basically approached Boaz now? Because remember, she was married before. She had lost something very precious to her. Now she's got to deal with all of that emotion, but that is a way of molding your thinking process. What did she have to change in her thinking process?
I think as Terry said earlier, coming to a hard-working side, to pull yourself together and go to the threshing floor and gleaning, as my mother-in-law said, well, I'm going to have to go. He watched her. Who is that woman? Because remember, he left those lasts of the sowing process on the fields. He left the lasts for the poor. So she was there, part of this. You know what I'm saying? I mean, really, girlfriend, if I must put myself in that, I would say, this is a little bit too much for me to handle. it's beyond my character. I would have said, oh no, ek moet gaan glean daar, saam met al die mense. Nee, wag 'n bietjie. I was gonna, you know what I'm saying? But yet, this lady had such a lot of confidence and courage to actually pull herself together.
And
That's
a
it.
very good sense of humility.
Absolutely.
Because
That was
humble.
vital.
Because if she wasn't humble, she wouldn't have
Ja,
done
nee,
it,
so
you know.
waar.
Because I remember she lived her life. She had a house, she had a husband, she had things going for her.
Yeah.
Now to hit rock bottom and pick up food from the floor that you need to go, and it's leftover food.
It's leftovers.
It's
It's
leftover.
leftovers, girlfriend.
And you know, Anka, the one thing also, you know, you said what stood out is her attitude and her mindset. You know, that positive attitude.
And
you
that's
know,
needed,
Yeah.
Candy.
It is needed. Because if your attitude and your mindset is not right, and it goes hand in hand, you will fail dismally.
Because, Candy, you can have an attitude of knowing it all,
Yes, yes.
and you can fail.
And that's where the humbleness comes
That's
in.
where the humbleness comes
There's
in.
an equal blend of humbleness
Yes,
and also a sense of confidence.
that's
Because
it.
you want to say something? Tim?
Yes. Okay, you can finish. Okay. So apart from everything, there was faith. She took a leap
Yes.
of faith.
Oh, vital.
So whatever you want to pursue, okay, you need to have that faith,
Faith. Yes.
to be able to do it, because she stepped into the unknown. And like you said, imagine, maybe we don't know the past, but she might have lived a fancy life, a big house, and now you have to come back to this, and you have to now pick up stuff, and you have to now, it's humility, because the first time that she actually had an encounter with Boaz, she bowed down to him.
Yes.
So all of her characteristics, it paved her way. You know, so whatever you do while you're doing it, your attitude while you're doing it will pave your way. That's what she had, a leap of faith, and she just stepped out, and because of her faith, she was made whole.
I like what Simpiwe says here. Simpiwe says, Terry mentioned that Ruth was selfless. And she says, we need to remember that being selfless has a reward at the end,
Yes.
which is so true. Being selfless do have rewards. At the end of everything, it has rewards. And then someone says, yeah, Ruth was loyal. Sharice McCabe says, Ruth was loyal and so humble. And that's as we said earlier on. I don't know, there's someone that says, Lavender. She says, I must commend Ruth's parents or parent. Whatever they told her when they handed over to Naomi's son, it was such a good thing. And she listened and she lived by that. It is actually, maybe she's talking, referring to Naomi here. And then we want to thank Sanisha. Thank you for tuning in. And then Sonia Foster says, Ruth was resourceful. And that is what we need to know. Whatever we need is already within us,
Yes.
which is so true. She was resourceful.
Truth, yes, she was. Having said that, I just want to, bring it all back to that she could have also been all-knowing in the sense that, I dated your son. I know what I was doing, so don't tell me.
Yes.
I know how to. She could have done all of that, but she didn't. So I think that is a lot of the things that we as women need to take into consideration, that we are resourceful.
Yes.
We've got resources that God has placed in
Absolutely.
each and every one of us, but everything in moderation. We need to take humility into account. We need to be able to be teachable as well at the end of the day, because yes, I have my mother in Namibia, and yes, I can speak to my mother every day, but there are situations that only Ma can help me with right here
now.
in the right now, and I need to be open to get teaching from Ma. I need to be open to say, okay, Ma, let me try this. This is what you said. Let me implement this. Because if I can also just go and say, oh no, I've got my mommy. I can do what
Yeah.
my mommy says. It's not going to help either of us.
Absolutely.
It's not going to help me going forward, because Ma's already walked this road.
Yeah.
Ma can say, find your own way then. If I was being stubborn in that sense. So that I think it's important for us as women to realize all those elements and implement all those elements in our lives. We're just going to go into a short break. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned, and we'll be back with so much more for you guys.
Women rise. What a good theme for this year. Now, we are not saying that you should rise from where you were sitting, because we do hope that you are still comfortable. But we have reached the point in the program where we want to appeal to you. If you find anything valuable that we here at Remarkable Women do, please do so into the ministry. The banking details will be on the screen below me. And if you find anything valuable, like I said, please do so into the kingdom, and so that we can have more effective ministry out there, reaching more women, creating more remarkable women. Thank you once again, and continue enjoying the rest of the program. Women rise. What a good theme for
Welcome once again. If you have just tuned in, you are watching Remarkable Women. Love yourself with Remarkable Women. And we have the lovely team here, and we have someone extra special that joined us for the last set. And she will be taking us through the journey of loving ourselves, because this is the month of self-love. Mooks, you want to take it away?
Thank you so much, Anka, and thank you so much for having me today. I think for me, what I want to touch on is, the popular thing that's come around now. It's like Self-Care Thursday, Self-Care Sunday. So today will be a Self-Care Monday. And it started out as, me just laying in the bath, having a face mask on, putting the bath bombs on. But then I read a quote, and it said, it doesn't matter how many face masks you put on, how many bath bombs you put into your bath. If you are not addressing those things about yourself that are toxic, you will never truly come to self-love. You will never truly come to self-care. So one day I sat in the bath and I listened to a podcast, and the self-love flick, so her name's Beatrice, she was addressing toxic traits. And I sat in the bath and I thought, yo, because she was talking about how sometimes we can be so controlling. And I realized that that was one of my most toxic traits. I was the opposite of Ruth. I thought I knew everything. I was so controlling. And then one day I sat on the beach after I had failed for the first time. And I said, you know what, God? For the first time in my life, I don't know what to do, but I feel so light. And God said, yes, it's because you were trying to do my job all this time. That's why it felt so heavy. Because even my relationship with God was, okay, as long as you're ticking those things on my list, then we are good, God. But now for the first time, you're not doing that. And the control freak in me is running around in panic because I don't know what to do. But I feel so light, God, because I think this is what surrender is. And I think if you hadn't brought me to this, so now every time I do something, I sit back and I say, okay, do I want this idea because it's my idea? Or is it actually the best thing that works for the group? I try to be less controlling. Even when I speak to God, I've never, even with my career, I didn't go to God saying, do you want me to be an accountant? I said, God, help me be an accountant. Now, whatever I do, I said, is this actually what you want for me, God? Should I be in this rotation? And that's what I learned. So I think, let's just go around and let's just say, what were your toxic traits? How did you identify that it was your toxic trait? And even now, how do you catch yourself in that moment? And how do you bring yourself out of that? I think let's start with Candace.
I think mine is being a perfectionist, and which caused me a lot of pain and the people around me pain. Because everything I touched, I believed it had to be done with perfection. And I expected everybody else around me when we do something. And my passion is events and catering and doing pretty thing and setting up. And I expected everybody that's participating to be at the same level as I am, It must be, the bowls must be in a certain position, the tablecloth must be in a certain position. And that filtered into my life. And when I failed and went through a divorce, I sat back and I said, but you're actually not a perfectionist. It made me realize. And when my family sat and spoke to me about, we don't actually want to attend or help you with any of the events because you make it miserable. You make it as a pleasant event for us. And we end up fighting and being miserable, and we don't actually enjoy the event. And I had to sit back And, spending time alone and saying, how do I change this? How do you let things go? Let it be. Relax. Everything you do, if you do it with purpose and with a good heart, it will work out and be perfect. And it was very hard in the beginning, where I had to just sit back and allow other people to do things. And even if it wasn't the way I wanted it or according to how I wanted it, I had to let it go. And I think that has caused me, it's given me a lot of happiness within myself. I've allowed things to go wrong and sit back and say, let it be. Tomorrow's another day. It's also given me a lot of time, because I used to overwork myself, because I would rather than say, you know what, leave it, I will do it. Because then I know it's according to my standard and how I want to do it. And I became fatigued and tired. And that also caused me to be a miserable person. But letting go and sitting back and reflecting and saying, Candace, everything in life is not perfect. Tomorrow's another day. Has caused me to be a better person, a pleasant person. And the people around me is happy to be and work with me. So, yeah, reflecting is so important. So you could have that makeup, that mask, but if you are not happy within yourself and reflecting on what are the toxic traits and fixing it, all that makeup will do nothing.
That is so true, right? That is really, really true. I think for me, mine would be, the lack of confidence in a lot of areas, like the insecurities, if I can put it like that. So there's a lot of, Xavier would ask me in the mornings, he'd say, is this your thought process every morning when you get done to go to work? You first batter yourself half to death, and then you expect yourself to walk out here with confidence, because in my mind, there's always someone that can do it better. There's always someone that can say it better. There's always someone that can look better in it. So it becomes a thing. You start believing yourself. You start feeling, no, I don't look that great. And then you start telling yourself, if I can just get this, then I'll feel better of myself. If I can just paste the lashes on, then I will look good for the stars, And the reality of the matter is, once those lashes are on, you still don't feel confident. You still feel there could have been something better. Because tonight I must take those lashes off. They're not permanent,
It's from the inside out.
Okay, so mine, I think one of my toxic traits was, I'm still a challenge, I'm a bit bossy. Ek is 'n bietjie van 'n sterk vrou. Let me put it in Afrikaans terms. And I always used to make excuses for it, because I felt the need that, okay, whatever I went through in my past, I always had to, build this barrier, to protect myself, because I was always in a battle at home.
Yeah.
And as a result, when I hit the corporate sector, it was a problem. So apart from being bossy, I also have this thing that I think I know everything based on what I see, what I can see, and not from the other side. And and this one day, so there was a lady at work, we worked together, and she was actually like a spiritual mom. And she came to me one day and she dropped something, because I had an outburst with someone in the office. And I just told them, like, ek net ek sou sê waar op te klim en af te klim. And I felt good after it. And when I grew closer to God, when I built my relationship, it was something that really hindered me. But it was so bad to a point where it was just out of control. I couldn't contain myself. Like, you say net iets, and I was that type of person. And she came and she gave me the scripture in the book of James. And it was actually, back in the days, it was like the first time I actually came across the scripture. And I just want to read it, because I was reminded of it now, if you just allow me to, please. And it talks about, you need to be quick to hear, slow to become angry. And and as a result of it, I would go into a fit of rage. And the nice thing about it is, the closer I got to God, I learned and I dealt with all that anger that was inside of me. And I got to a point where I realized that, let me rather see things from another's perspective, Before I go and become angry and jump the gun, let me rather step back, Listen to what the individual have to say. Assess the situation, especially with clients. Look from their perspective because I was challenged with it in the work environment. Look at the situation, look at the scenario, put yourself in that space first, and then you decide, okay, how would you deal with this if you were in the situation? And that is how I basically overcame it. So before I jumped the gun, I'm like, okay, fine, Terry, don't know, yes, just think for yourself. If you were Anka, what would you do if you are faced with the situation? How would you act? Is it necessary for her to act in that certain way? And that's how I do it. That's how I deal with it on a daily basis. Because I deal with customers, I deal with a lot of people, and especially from a senior level. So you need to step back and you need to call yourself together, pull yourself towards yourself and say, Terry Ann, relax. As well, with my son, it was a problem because he was like, why are you shouting? Why are you screaming? Why do you have to fight for everything? So yeah, I think that was one of my toxic traits. I'm still dealing with it. Because when we so ergy, yeah, but I'm getting there.
Thank you so much, Terry. Pastor Joan, is there anything that you would like to add on there?
Yeah, I think I had to do introspection very quickly while you were talking on this thing, because I didn't really prepare on it. But yeah, I think if I must look back on my personal journey, what I developed was right now as distrust. I have a problem in trusting again. You know what I'm saying? And I'm really struggling with it, to be honest. I'm just now open. I'm struggling with it. So as soon as I see someone's coming a little bit too closer or people want to do for me, then there's that thing. I wonder now, she's doing it for me. Is she going to talk about it later? You get what I'm saying? So it's that distrust that I'm busy working through. I'm reading a lot about it, how to overcome it and stuff like that. And to get myself out there again. Because it can put you in a hold. Which I feel can be a stronghold and not living your full potential because you don't trust people. You know what I'm saying? I used to be open, but because of things that happens in a person's life, you actually tend to fall back, to protect yourself. And you build those walls of protection, and not allow people in anymore. So I think you are so used to, no, I'm not going to allow this anymore. I'm nobody's abuse case. I'm not going to allow people back into my life. I'm not going to trust them because I was here and this happened. So at the moment, I am working through that little garden that I may put, if I may put it that way, that maze, detours and things where we have to go through and talk to ourselves. Therefore, I still believe every day that I have to affirm myself. So I don't have to fall back onto the past that happened to me. So I've allowed a few. Now recently, I've allowed people back into my life, Can I be honest? Also with a little bit of a tennis, to be honest with you. But yet, I've opened up a little bit more, Because if you affirm yourself in the morning when you wake up and you say, I'm going to trust people. You trust people, Joan. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can do it, girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? This person just want to do good to you. And that's what it is for me now. And I think a lot of us do have those in our lives. As I've heard, I'm not the only one. You guys just said it now, what you are faced with at the moment. So yeah, I'm not alone.
And I think what's so important, Pastor Joan, is that you've realized it and you've identified it. Because, from the podcast that I've listened to, you can go on throughout your life and you feel this
emotional labor. Like
Yeah.
you just feel you're always tired, but it's a tired that sleep can't fix. It's like you just always feeling this way, and it's because you haven't identified those things about yourself, you know. For instance, if you're a reflective person, if you are a trusting person, and now you're suddenly not trusting, it's hard and it gets that way. But I think it's important to, you know, identify
And
it.
you know what? It's good to identify it, but you know, if you're in it, you actually put everybody's like, I would, if I see who this person is coming closer to my husband, I would say to him, you must be careful. You know, so you want to put your thing onto someone else again. You know what I'm saying? So it can have a ripple effect at the end of the day, and everybody can fall into a certain mind frame, not to allow people back into your life anymore. You see what I'm saying? But because that person is liberal and you're trying to work on yourself, he doesn't know that you're struggling with this issue. So now you, every time you on your all fours, like, yeah, careful, 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 don't allow too close. Yeah, so you can actually pass it on.
And in that, Pastor John, I think that projection, you know, because even now when I deal with people, sometimes I'm like, but where does your behavior come from? I try to
Yeah.
understand people a bit better and
Yeah.
like, okay, maybe that's why you answered me that way, because you are dealing with your own insecurities. Because I know
Absolutely.
myself that sometimes I don't speak because it's the right thing. Sometimes I jump out of that insecure place.
It's true. And I think a lot of us are struggling with that. And I think it's an all-rounder. And what I said earlier is that it's a balance of everything, you know, us as women towards other women as well. I always say that if someone's maybe having an off day or they answer me in a rude way, I always say, understand where that person is coming from, because they might have had deep, deep past hurt and they're answering from that hurt. So let me meet her halfway, because she's also a woman. We are of like minds. And I think that is where we all need to be supportive towards one another, from woman to woman, you know. Like, I see you have a box. Do you want to tell us about your box?
So it's basically, so this is just my Thursday treatment, how I go through it. So I start out with my hair mask, and then I'll start
Looks
out
so
with,
nice.
thank you. So yeah, so this is just, you know, the physical, although it's not the most important thing, it aids in, you know, the stress of the week and all of that. So I'll start out with my body wash, and then I'll go in with my body lotion, and I need my body oil that I'll go in with, and then I do a face mask. This is one of my favorite face masks. And then I go in with my jade roller, and then I'll just, you know, let go of all those toxins that happen during the week. And then I'll go in with my hair mask, and then just to end the Thursday off, I spray some of this pillow mist onto my pillow, and that's just what I do to take care of myself every Thursday. So I set aside an hour, 2 hours, I sit in the bath, and I listen to a podcast.
And I think that is so important. Us as women, we don't make time for ourselves.
Yeah.
We say we do, but we really don't. And I mean, if you're a mother, if you're a woman in a corporate space, in a career, or like a busy career, if you're a wife, there's so many things that you have to put your mind to, or you're busy with side projects. Like, for instance, you're in the corporate world, but you're involved with a remarkable woman. Ma is in ministry, but she's got so many aspects. She's got women that she needs to see to. She's got a husband she needs to see to as well. Even though we are grown, and we still are her kids, and she's got grandkids. And, you know, we need to take that time out to physically relax, physically unwind. And we've got mirrors on set, so just for the last thing before we head out, I just want to address our little mirrors. So if we can, in the mornings, if you pick up or you stand in front of your mirror, tell yourself that you are a confident woman. Tell yourself that you can do it to the best of your ability. Tell yourself that, yes, I am controlling, I'll stand back, and it will be done properly. And we'll allow it to be in God's hands. Or I am a perfectionist, I want it to be perfect, but it's perfectly imperfect. You know, tell yourself these things. And a lot of the times we think that that we process it and we've put it out of our mind. In fact, we've just really just shoved it under a rug. And if we have to take it back to Ruth, Ruth went through all these trials and tribulations. Yes, she was confident, but it didn't not come at a price. She wasn't hunky-dory all the time. She wasn't confident all the time. She wasn't that persevering woman all the time. I'm sure there were times where she had to pick herself up from the ground.
Absolutely, because there were other girls there too, who was also gleaning.
Yep.
So who are you coming from where? You know what I'm saying? You think you're the mother-in-law. It's like people will say,
Yeah.
maybe to you, oh, say si pastor so.
Very true.
You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it happens, guys. It's there. It's open. It's there. So this is real talk. It's real. So that is what it is.
And the other thing is, remember, she left her culture and went into an unknown culture, and they
Absolutely.
shunned her because she was a Moabite.
Yeah.
You know, so she got a lot of backlash. But she had to come to a point where she said, "No, I'm doing this. I'm going for this. I'm going to get this. I'm going to make a life for me and my mother-in-law." So that is the importance of self-love. We need to come and realize who we are. Take the time to see your toxic traits, but take a lot of time to focus on your strengths and who you are. So, is there any closing remarks that you'd like to?
Okay, I think we just have a comment from Celeste Gordon, and she says that her toxic trait is definitely holding a grudge, and she struggles to let go. So I think, Pastor Joan, if you can just come in on that.
Okay, I think when, because it's so easy to hold a grudge. I was there, believe you me, I was there. I had to talk to myself a lot. How do I forgive this person? You know, you have to come to yourself and say, you know what? This is not me. This is not my character. Someone made me like that. You know what I'm saying? And I've allowed it. So you talk to yourself. Self-talk is very important. It's vital every day to talk to yourself and to say to yourself, you know what? I'm not going to allow this bitterness to come on my plate. It's not going to play on my TV, right? So it's, guys, who do you allow, right, on your stage of life? Because if you're holding a grudge against someone, you allow that person to dance on your stage of your life. That person is actually taking control of your personal life. So you have to forgive and release.
Yeah.
Release because it's not you. Therefore, don't hold that person in your heart. Release the person and let the person go, because that person will always be a part of your life. You're going to allow that person to be a part of your life, even though you hate the characteristics of the person or whatever the person did to you. So first and foremost, speak to yourself. Say, this is not going to play on my TV. I'm not going to allow this person to be on my stage. No, there's no space for that. And then release the person. After you've forgiven, release the person and let the person go, because it's not you. So speak to yourself with regards to holding a grudge.
I just want to say to the ladies this morning, we've got a wonderful spread on this table. And you know, as much as self-care and taking care of you, but sometimes we also just need to sit around as ladies, have some comforting food. And you don't necessarily have to indulge in the creams and the chocolates. We can have some fruit even and have a fruit afternoon. But I think it's important in having this couch talk. That is also part of self-love, because you can do introspection alone. But trust me, being alone sometimes is not good. But releasing and talking and being around sisters that can help you and give you advice is also very, very important.
Thank you so much. Just for closing remarks, what would you like to say, Terry? Is there something you'd like to leave everyone with?
Okay, yes, I do. Ladies, be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself. just know that a slow progress is better than no progress. And tell yourself, great is he that's in me than he that's in the world. Therefore, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So you will make it, and just unwind. Yes, take it easy, ladies.
Closing remark for me. Position yourself and wait for the right opportunity. Timing is essential. There is a time and a season for everything under the sun. Learn to discern the time and the season of your life. Knowing your season will guide your behaviors and your decision.
I think for me, just a closing remark is to, practice self-compassion. Show, it's so easy to show other people compassion, but practice that the most with yourself. Set time aside to love on yourself because you can't pour from an empty cup.
Okay, can I do this? I think I'm not going to have closing remarks, but I just want to thank the people who was online. I love what Annie says, Annie Marsdorp says. She says the strength of a woman is not measured by the impact that all her hardships in life have had on her, but the struggles, where is it now? Sorry. The strength of a woman is not measured by the impact that all her hardship in life have had on her, but the strength of a woman is measured by the extent of a refusal to allow those hardships to dictate her and who she becomes. So don't allow your struggles and your past to dictate to you who you really are. Get the real you. No? That is locked up within yourself. Nobody's going to do it for you. Only you can do it, girlfriend.
Thank you so much to each and every one. And my closing remark would just be that, ladies, see your self-worth. See what are your good traits and run with those good traits. But find yourself a good support system. We as the Remarkable Women, we are here. And we love to be that support for you as well. We've got each other. The other day we were supposed to go through planning, and we were just there enjoying the whole time, each other's conversations, letting each other know what happened, what has been happening, and the planning went out the window. But the conversation was so good. So find yourself someone who can be that Naomi to you. Naomi had Ruth. I have my support
Sisters.
group here, my sisters here. So, and you are not alone. We are here for you.
Okay, I like what these people say here. There's quite a few of them that says, this hour was my self-care hour. So thank you so much. That's so awesome. That's so good.
So thank you so much, everyone, for joining with us. We really enjoyed this couch talk with you guys. And please let us know if you guys felt the same way. And if there's anything else that you guys would like us to cover, maybe in future sessions to come. So from our side, goodbye.
Yeah, love you. Shalom. Mwah.